Here we are.
Hi.
Hello, world, and thank you for joining us for season 2 of South of Hollywood. I am so excited. I'm your host, Ife, aka Freedom, and I'm here with my homegirl and co host today, Stephanie Grimm.
Hi.
Stephanie, say what's up. Tell us who you are and what you're all about. I'm so excited to have you today.
Hey, everybody. I'm Stephanie. I'm an artist living on the south side of Chicago. And I think that's it. I like to make art around like being black and pop culture. And usually that artwork is in film photography mediums, but it is, I'm pretty multidisciplinary as well, but the main base is film and photography. That's
Right,
it.
definitely. Stephanie is so dope. I've known Stephanie for like 5 or 6 years
I
now.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I just saw her film The Black Kids Table, and
Yeah.
I just was like in love. Like, this girl, we got to be friends. She's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get into filmmaking, and what are your thoughts about what's happening in the world today?
Man, so let's see here. I went to school. I always was like into creative things. But I think the glamour of film is what attracted me to film. And it's not glamorous, but the glamour from the outside is what attracted me to it. So I went to film school, went to Columbia College Chicago, and then graduated and then started interning and working on commercials as a PA and then working my way up. And now I work in the set decorating department. I'm a coordinator on the TV show Chicago PD, but I still like to do my own art projects. Like I work in film. It's sort of like my 9 to 5 hustle, and then I make my art as well. So um that's my journey. And then I don't know, like how film is now. I just feel like it's like everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it like in a sense that it's easy, but I think before it's so much more accessible now, which is exciting because there's so many films. I'm thinking like even just on Reels on Instagram and TikTok, the app, like those are short films. I'm just like I just love it so much as, everybody is, being able to tell stories in their own way that they have access to. And I think that that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, I love that about our modern film era
Hmm.
that we're going through. And I think, yeah, I don't think people really realize it just yet. As a documenter, I'm very like totally mystified because this is what's happening. A lot of people are actually documenting their lives.
Yeah.
Yes, like fiction, there's also like, educational stuff, there's stuff that's set up, but collectively it says a lot about who we are as humans, where we are, what we're concerned about, what we're thinking about, what we're talking about, and even what's popular and trending in different parts of the world. It's just
Yeah.
really eye opening.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you could see like someone in, you know, Ghana, like kicking it for the day and seeing them like holding that would never have been available like otherwise. So I think it's very special. And it doesn't have to be like perfect either. Like there's some people that are like they have their whole like camera set up and stuff, but there's those people that are just like with their camera phones, and that is also just as important.
Yeah.
It's just getting the story out. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's definitely super cool. So, speaking of that, let's just get into it for today. And because we
Okay.
want to come back to that as kind of our main topic. So, Um, I was just thinking I always like to come up with our upcoming attractions. So
Hmm.
let's talk about something you're looking forward to watching. I'll jump in first. I actually want to see this Eternals, this Marvel, like these random heroes, these random
Oh,
superheroes, and it's supposed to have Michael Henry Tyson in it. So he's like the black
okay.
guy. And, I really like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to check him out, and it's just supposed to have a different twist to it. So, that was
Yeah.
something I was looking at.
Are the Eternals like heroes that have always been, or are they new people that?
That's the thing because they have always been in the Marvel universe. But this is
Oh,
supposed to
okay.
be the first time they're actually getting like a thread, actually
Okay.
like getting some full stories. A lot of times they're like cameos,
Got
you
it.
know. Yeah, they would show up for a fight or something, they disappear. So now they're getting like these characters are getting like a longer thread. So
Okay, time for the limelight. Hey, Eternals.
okay, turn up, turn up. They're like, oh,
Hey.
we have this back pocketed heroes back here. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome. That does sound good. I'm actually really curious about the House of Gucci.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that because I guess I never thought about, for some reason, all the other designers I could obviously like pin to a person, but for Gucci, I never thought of it as being like an individual. I don't know why. I just didn't. And so like then his story, like I had no idea that he was assassinated. Like I'm like, what? And Lady Gaga, it looks really beautiful as well. So I'm really, really excited to see it. It looks just so rich and glamorous and just beautifully photographed. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it does look really good, and Adam Driver is in it, and I am a total Adam Driver fan. Like
Oh,
I'm in
nice.
him. Yeah. But
Yes.
I'm confused because is Gucci and Versace the same thing? Please, y'all out there in the world, don't beat me up. I'm like, are these the same thing, Gucci and Versace? Are they two different
They're
things?
two different people. And that's why I think, because I feel like Versace, maybe because he was alive and you saw him, to
Yeah.
me, like as alive, then I'm like, okay, I could put that to one person. And then of course, Chanel, like it makes sense that Gucci was one person, that the house was named after one person. But
I get it
yeah,
because
no.
Lady Gaga was in both. Like she was in Versace the TV show, and
Oh, okay.
and Gucci. So I was like, wait, are these two different movies?
Who did she play in the Versace movie?
She was Donatella Versace. She was
Oh,
blind.
wow.
Yeah, she was that was her.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
She's
That's
actually a
awesome.
really good actress.
Yeah,
Lady
she really
Gaga.
is. She really is.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know much about her acting background, or like if she took classes, if it comes sort of naturally, and then of course she works to like enhance it. But I feel like, yeah, she's really good out of all like, pop stars that have come out and starting
Yeah.
to act. Like I feel like she can do these like transformational characters really, really well. Maybe that's because she's so theatrical anyway, but
Yeah. And I
she's
think
she's
she
a fly
likes
girl.
that. That seems to be her thing because she really does like to like totally dress up and look like somebody else. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah, and her name is Stephanie too, which I always love. Did you know
Yeah. I just think she got that she's that type of person. She's like ready to like switch it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. And y'all little Stephanie connection.
Okay. Should do a project.
I know. That's awesome. Yeah. Have you seen anything recently that really stood out to you or anything you watched that you were just like, this is
You know what?
amazing?
I saw Harder They Fall,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I do understand the think pieces around it. I do
Mhm.
understand. Um, I don't want to like spoil it, but I think like even the characters' names, I didn't equate them to like that they were supposed to be like the real characters. I thought they were
Mhm.
just like sharing their name. I didn't put that together.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the soundtrack. I thought it looked really cool. And it was a really good time. I love to be entertained in like westerns or like action films, and I thought it was
Mhm.
entertaining. So I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I still have to watch that.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
definitely something I either need to watch it like tonight or like tomorrow because everybody is talking about it. So I need to see it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it
So,
was it was a good. That was the last thing that I saw in the theater
oh yeah.
recently. I
Oh,
saw
that would
that
be
at the
nice.
drive-in.
Oh my god, I haven't been in a theater in literally 2 years at this point.
I saw Summer of Soul in the theater with
Oh
my friend Whitney,
yeah.
and that was really cool. That was really cool. They had all this footage. If somebody has seen it, it's about like this festival in New York that I think was put on for quite a few years, sponsored by Folgers and other people.
Mm,
And they found the
mm,
footage somewhere, and so they made a
mhm.
movie out of it. It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I heard really good things about that, and that was
Yeah,
actually produced by Questlove, I think.
yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, that was cool. That's what's up.
Yeah, there were a couple billboards for that one. I just watched Love Life season 2 on HBO,
Oh, what's
and
that?
it's so see that's why I think they did this. So their season 2 is one of those type of shows where like it's a different cast and story. Second season. So it was totally different cast and story. The first season was about this like white girl that just goes and falls in love. I mean, I'm assuming. I never saw it. But the second season stars Jessica Williams, who was a journalist from The Daily Show,
Okay,
and Two
yeah.
Dope Queens. Yeah, and the guy, I want to say William Johnson or something from The Good Place, the black guy that was in The Good Place, the kind of
Uh-huh.
like nerdy black guy. He was
Yeah.
also in he's also in what was that super scary movie from A24? Heredity, was it? No, not Heredity. It was Midsummer. Do you see Midsummer?
Okay. Okay.
It's
Uh-uh.
super crazy. They're like out in Scandinavia and everything.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, that guy who was like really kind of nerdy, but like super hot in
Okay,
this
come on.
series. Yes, and I was like, I loved it, and it's like all about this complex journey of finding love, but from like the black man's perspective. And I just thought literally it was like illuminating. I was like, oh, and then it made me realize like we actually don't have enough stories about love from the
Yeah.
black perspective, literally. We got all the drama, all the trauma,
Yeah.
all the action now. We're totally into action.
Yeah.
We're just there shooting and blowing things up just like everybody else now too. But we don't have just like coming of age, like quirky, hard characters, complex characters that are hard to love, but we still love them. And
Yeah.
they got to do that, and I just thought it was so good. And it's like this amazing love story about like black people. It's just like amazing.
Wow, I want to see it. I've never even
I
heard of that. And
know.
that's the thing that sort of sucks right now is that there's so much TV that like it's really hard to keep up. And a lot of these shows have been like in like fourth, fifth seasons. Like, and it's like, what? Like, I've never even heard of this show.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've never even
Exactly.
heard of Love Life. That sounds amazing. I wanna watch that, you know? And you're right, there
Yeah.
needs to be like more love stories, especially from like the black male perspective, I think would be cool. Like I'm just tired of stuff always coming up to being like, these like infidelity drama. I'm so sick of that.
Right. Yes.
You
And
know?
speaking of which, are you watching Insecure?
You know what? So I just got into Insecure during the shutdown, and then so I binged on all of it, and I'm sort of thinking like, man, should I wait until it's over and then watch them all,
That's what I usually do.
or do I need to jump in line with everybody else so I could be a part of the conversation? So I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God. I never can decide. So like last year I did wait because I was like the pandemic was just too much. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't take Lawrence and Issa during the pandemic. I need one or the other.
Okay.
So I
Which
actually waited till the season was over and then I just like caught up last time. But this time, because it's the end, I'm like, I have to know what happens. It's a page turner. And, it reminds me so much. I mean, obviously, it reminds me a lot about LA, but it just reminds me too, like, there's not enough stories about Black LA, you
yeah.
know, except, everybody knows Boys in the Hood and Friday,
Hmm.
but like just regular Black people or even Baldwin Hills or
Yeah.
the whole just young up and coming Black middle class culture sort of thing. Yeah, there's not enough stories like that. So her, I'm just like so hurt that she's there, but she's like leaving too. So I'm like, well, I hope basically more stories, she produces more work like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like so nice to see young Black people reflected in her work, in Issa Rae's work, and watching
Definitely.
Insecure. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I understand the hype for sure. Like I think it's really cool. And you're right, because I feel like especially with LA, like you really only see like either Boys in the Hood or the Kardashians. It's either like the like glitz
Yeah.
and glam part or it's like the rundown part. And it's like it's like where is the middle ground? Like that is not everybody's story. Like, come on.
Yeah. So yeah, so she's been really, again, just a groundbreaking artist for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But that brings us to our next segment. Speaking of hot topics, there is a lot going down
Okay.
in the
Okay.
industry. Okay. And let's just talk about that because I know
Yeah.
you're in the television industry. What's been your perspective of, some of these debates? I think we're having a lot of union, arguments, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of threats of shutdown, contract agreements. What's been your perspective being in the industry?
You know what? I really think that the whole film industry at this point, should just be like redone. I don't really know where the whole like 14, 16-hour day came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back in like MGM, when you see like even pictures, like those guys are working in suits. It's like, are you guys seriously here for like 14 hours in suits? Like, no, you have to get home for dinner. Like, it was very traditional. Like, I just,
Mm-hmm.
and if maybe it was that way, but I think that the way that just the overworking is
Mm-hmm.
enough of that. I think that the
Mhm,
pandemic, the shutdown, the shelter in place definitely showed people that like, look, we need more rest
mhm,
and need a better quality of life. And so I
mhm,
really think that the movie business needs to look at that and figure some things out. And I don't think that it could happen overnight, but I think that like I don't think they could be like the union could be like, this is what we want and this and that. And yeah, some of those things can be immediate changes, but I think in terms of like
mhm,
turning over, like the lifestyle of the way that things are being worked, I think that that
mhm,
really heavily needs to be looked at, because I think
mhm,
just if people just, one of the big things that these unions were talking about was just like proper rest,
mhm,
so if we wrap at like 9 p.m., I might
mhm,
take a PA a couple more hours, to finish wrapping out the
mhm,
set and to close everything up. And then they have to
mhm,
drive home, and it's like
mhm,
only to like pop back up and come back. And it's like, are they really
mhm,
getting the adequate rest that they need,
mhm.
Um, so I think the
That's
rest,
regulated. That's regulated for other jobs, for other
yeah,
industries. That's definitely, I mean, like if you're a truck driver or a nurse, I think you have to have an 8-hour break, right?
yeah,
Before you can come back to the shift.
yeah, no, and that's absolutely true. So I feel like some of these things, and even though they have the stuff in place, you know, um, producers they might try to push past this stuff like, come on guys, like we only have so much more to film, like let's keep going. And it's like, nah, we need to stop.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I think like really looking at the models of which film is created,
mhm, mhm,
I think especially in like the commercial, Hollywood way. I have a friend that consistently is making independent films himself, and I'm almost like, it almost seems like you might have it a little bit better because you have your job that's not related to filmmaking.
mhm,
And you can
mhm,
go and you can do that. You get off work at like 4, you go
mhm.
work out, have dinner with your wife. And from like 7 to 10,
Mhm,
that's like good 4 hours of like getting your work done or editing time, go to sleep,
mhm, mhm.
versus like, you trying to be a filmmaker on top of working in film production where you might work
Yeah.
12-hour days, like, and you try to push yourself to like work on your own project and stuff like that. But it's like you're tired.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
being able to
Yeah.
say, like, it's okay that I'm tired.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I definitely think like, you know, yeah, first of all, like there's other industries that are regulated. And I think just television and film and even like, a lot of work industries right now, especially, they're just not, they haven't kept up with the reality.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic, and let me ask you what you think about this. I kind of get the feeling that like the pandemic also used the opportunity to kind of exploit some of that because I don't know, I feel like there was definitely previously a push to try to stick to more like egalitarian sort of rules. And then I feel like the pandemic came or the shutdown, then people went back to work and they were just like, "Oh, that's an excuse to like work nonstop." Like
Yeah.
we're just going to give you a whole bunch more work now because you weren't working for a couple of weeks or months or whatever. So, what was your experience like, coming back to work after the shutdown? Do you feel like it was better or worse, or have they not really responded to the reality?
You know what? I don't necessarily think that there is a response to the reality. It feels like, business as usual with masks and
Mhm.
testing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't know if that's good or bad,
Mhm.
but I do feel, like some, I can't speak for all industries, but maybe, this one, like we've come back with like really, really like bold, projects or episodes and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
last time, we actually got filmed something during a pandemic, which is really wild. All these shows, like I'm a
Mhm.
big reality show person, all these shows like
Yeah.
really filming during a pandemic. And then it's like you come back and it's like you had to do something reduced a little bit. So you want to come
Mhm.
back with an explosion. But the fact is that the pandemic is still out here, y'all.
Mhm.
It's still out
Yes.
here. So it seems
Yeah.
like, you still have to take those precautions. And it's scary, but by the grace of God, everybody's still getting it in and getting it done, but yeah, we just got to make sure we wash our hands and wear our masks, I guess.
Right. I guess it's every man for themselves for real right now. Okay.
Okay. I saw what is it? Somebody like posted something like it's get rich or die trying at my job.
At my job. Okay.
Yeah, they're like it's get rich or die trying in this mother. I'm like, oh my god, that is hilarious.
It's going down. Well, actually, speaking of that, tragically, there was, a big to do in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's film set Rust on the film set of their film Rust, which is now I think shut down indefinitely.
Oh, for
Um,
real?
yeah, I think it's like it's a rap ski. And it brings up so many questions because, just to refresh everybody's memory, basically they had a live firearm discharged accidentally. Everybody agrees it was, unintentionally, but it actually ended up killing the DP and striking the director. So just hearing about that in Chicago, like, what did you think? What were your
I
thoughts
thought
about
that was terrible. I've seen like a couple of productions that have put on their slate, like RIP, to the young
that?
lady. I can't think of her name right now.
Yeah.
But man, that was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was absolutely terrible. And it's like, that position when you handle like firearms is called like an armorer. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like it's very serious. Like, you have to
Mm-hmm.
handle, that there's going to be like live um a gun on set, it's like a big deal. Everybody knows it. You have to check the chamber and all this kind of stuff. It goes through a whole process. You can't just be like, oh, here, from what I understand that, it
Yeah.
wasn't even somebody that had that much experience or no
Right.
experience. And that,
Right.
that film had like a had some labor issues already, and it
Mhm.
actually is interesting that it happens, coming off of, where everybody was trying to strike, right? So the strike is
Yeah.
happening. We want to have a strike, the strike's averted, and
Mhm.
then here comes this tragedy,
Yeah. Yes.
that's
Yeah.
like, wow, really? And it's just such a final thing. And I can't even really imagine, when you're in New Mexico filming the stuff with these people, you guys are all like a family basically while you all are up here, like you're doing your rehearsal, talking and stuff, and that just happened like that so quick. Like I
Mhm.
really felt for Alec Baldwin in that sense,
Mhm.
like I'm like, I
Mhm.
can't, especially because like the news is like he shot somebody or whatever. And it's
Right.
like,
Right.
come on,
Instantly
you guys,
bogus.
like, yeah, they acted as if he just like I'm like,
Murdered the girl.
everybody get
Yes.
down, or something. It's like,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
But
Yes.
I just think that that is an absolute tragedy, and it only shows like, um, like how important it is to have trained professionals. Like,
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
not a game. These are not
Mhm.
like independent fun films. And then also like, with prop guns, like they are real guns. They're just like hollowed out. People are like, oh,
Mhm.
like a prop gun. It's not like a
Mhm.
rubber gun. I don't know why. We have
Mhm.
those, but it's not like it's like a rubber gun. So I'm assuming, obviously that was like a real
Mhm.
gun. But then like
Yeah.
the show was just weird because they were talking about there was like more bullets on the set or something. It's like, what are y'all
Yeah,
doing?
it was like crazy. Yo, this is every time I read more about it, like you said, not only did, a lot of crew and staff walk off a set earlier that day or the day before, whichever it was,
Yeah,
the people who were in charge of guns were, first of all, there was like a mix of people though too, like you said, it's not even just one person. But the last person they mentioned, the girl, was not as experienced. And then you
yeah,
have just kind of like this dry run, they were just like marking it. And for this to happen, it's just like, yeah, it's
yeah. And
so
they said
many
like the
layers.
AD, and they said like the AD like grabbed a gun. It's like, how do you know is me if I'm not like, what if I had a real gun and I'm armor, but I usually carry a gun like on my way to work or something, and I'm like, okay, let me put my real gun away, and these are the prop guns or
Yeah,
whatever.
right,
But then you don't come and you gonna be, oh, let me grab a gun, and it's like, don't do that. Do not touch. And I
right.
feel like in film, like, there's so many departments for a reason. Like
Yeah,
you don't come over. Like I work in the set decorating department. I'm not finna come over like if you're gonna say, "Oh, I need to brush my hair." Look, I'm not gonna go over to the makeup trailer and hair trailer and grab a brush and come over and start, girl, let me get you together. Like you would never do that.
you are
You would
funny. Or
never
put
do
it on
that.
set like it's a
I would
prop.
be like,
Yeah,
okay, let me go get, Marissa or Kiki,
yeah,
and I'm be like, hey, the actress was talking about her hair. Actually, I wouldn't even have said nothing. They know that they probably got to loop back around and come back and check you before we film.
yeah,
There's no need.
yeah.
You got to stay in your lane. So I feel
Lane.
like that was really unacceptable and really inappropriate, and I'm just really really heartbroken for everybody on the crew. I'm very heartbroken, of course, for the young lady that lost her life, and for her,
Yeah,
she was a mom. Like, come on, man. That And then the thing that was so crazy is that Alec Baldwin, like, I feel like the day before, Cheetahs, I don't know if you saw this, like a video that he had talking about like, hey, unions, y'all got to do what you got to do, and like he was like like talking
yeah,
about this one love kind of video, and then it's like literally the next day this happens.
yeah. So yeah, I definitely, it's just like a whole lot. Hold
Yeah.
on one second. Let me just of course somebody's at my door. So
Okay.
we'll treat this as a little commercial break.
Hey.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Uh, and then- All right. Okay. So
Okay.
I also wanted to ask you, I know that's in my commercial break. We'll just build that in.
Hey, I
Don't
like
worry.
it.
I also wanted to ask you, okay, the last final hot topic, I know, speaking of unions and people getting upset walking off the job, what do you think about Netflix when Dave Chappelle? Did you get a chance to watch the Dave Chappelle special? And what do you think about the staff and people at Netflix actually walking off the job also?
You know what? I did not see the special, but I do, and I want to watch it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Hmm.
Um, but I will say, walking off the job, I feel like these companies gonna be like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah, Netflix is not losing no sleep. Let's be clear about that.
yeah, and I
Okay.
feel like there's things where it's like, all right, we might hear you, to change our policies. And of course, I'm speaking from ignorant place because I've only seen like the aftermath of the comments or like little clips and stuff. And I know.
Mhm.
And then I started seeing like, did you see like the CEO of Netflix has a black wife?
No, I did not see
My guy,
that.
he
Oh
has a
my
black wife.
God.
Yeah, he swirled up. So people started posting that. People
I
started
mean,
posting that.
they've had a serious black focus though. They definitely put their money where their mouth was.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at Sister Girl, but
Mhm.
I feel like, because with like I feel like, yeah, you could change your policies and your ideas and your views, but like you saying you're walking off, like
Mhm.
that's bold, and hopefully you have a good faith system, because I feel like these, it's like the show, like the movie thing, like the show must go on, like it will carry on,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so I don't know, those people that walked off, did they get their jobs back, or did they just leave, or what?
I don't know. I think it was just a protest. I think they're still working there. I don't think anybody like lost their job or quit their job. I think
They're
it
like,
was
no,
just
no, no. They're like, we're gonna walk off, but don't fire me for
like,
real.
don't I have the right to protest. That's all. I'm just exercising my right to protest.
Yeah, because I was
Well,
gonna say,
yeah.
I personally can't afford to just be like I'm leaving. Like I don't know. Especially
Yeah.
because I feel like where they might change, their thoughts if you personally decide to go. They might be like, okay, they left, and we'll just get like another person. You
Mhm.
know.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the American way, isn't it? That's the
Hmm.
American way. Like no employee is that special in this motherfucker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Business will keep going. Well, I actually saw the special. I've tried to look at it a couple times, and the most thing that I can say about it was I feel like Dave Chappelle was trying to have an honest conversation about a
Hmm.
difficult topic.
Hmm.
And for better or worse, it's a messy delivery, let's say.
Hmm.
I personally don't find anything funny about making fun of transgender people,
Yeah, absolutely
and
not.
nothing about it is actually ha ha. It really is, again, more observational, more of a storytelling sort of approach. He trying to talk through or work through whatever that is for him. So
Yeah.
for me, it's more just like, okay, I wish he would have got a little bit more into what's happening right now. We look to Dave Chappelle to really kind of be that signifying monkey about what's happening in real life. And so
Mhm.
I just wanted more about these times, dealing with the right and dealing with the insurrection. I thought, oh my God, if anybody could tell us a joke to make us
Good
feel
point.
better about what
Good
we
point.
terrifyingly living through, I hoped it would have been him. So for me, I just felt like he could have taken a chance to, not focus so heavily on that topic. But
Mhm.
I do also think that it's a valid, I mean, it is a valid conversation. I do think Black men often get railroaded into, kind of being portrayed as negative. And
Mhm.
so I just thought, speaking on social media, I just felt like everybody kind of jumped on it without really giving it the respect for the nuance that it deserved.
Yeah.
So, it's not good or bad. I just think that he was having a very difficult conversation, and we're living in a time when we maybe need to have a conversation about these things,
Mhm.
and not just be afraid to have those conversations because we're afraid people, not gonna like it, or
Yeah.
it's gonna make everybody uncomfortable.
Right.
So I agree on that tip. Like I said, and then if you ever saw his shows live, he'd been telling them jokes for about the last year and a half. So it wasn't
Oh,
quite
okay.
a shock, if you've been following him, if you're a fan, if you went to any of his shows since 2019, he'd been
Mhm.
talking about it. But again, I think
Oh,
social
Dave.
media was kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah, yeah. And he didn't respond to it either, right? Like when people were saying all this stuff, he just like kept it moving. And I think,
Yeah.
it could have been interesting to have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm like, I kind of see both sides because it's not he not really the right person. If there
Yeah.
was, if we're gonna have a conversation about the transgender, experience and identity, maybe he's not the best person to start the conversation, you
Yeah.
know. But he does represent people who are struggling with it, and I think that's also real.
Yeah, I think so. And it'd be nice to if it's nice when you can have those conversations without like being yelled at and being like made seem that you're you know, a hater of like specific communities or whatever. When you're just curious and trying to learn more. I don't know if Dave was doing that. Obviously he wasn't, it doesn't seem like, but it's hard to be able to ask those questions in like a clear space and not get beat up for it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or
So
be able to
yeah.
make a mistake. Like even if you make a mistake, you can make a mistake and then be like, now you're canceled. And it's like, oh God, okay.
Yes, yes. So let's talk
I
about
didn't mean
social
it.
media.
I'm trying to learn here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
as a
God.
freelance, right, as a freelance artist, I mean, it's also very hard to avoid. It's inevitable to avoid. You have to be online. So what's been your experience, working with social media, dealing with burnout, dealing with marketing? What's your experience been online?
I feel I am so burnt out. Like I keep calling it burnt out. My friend identified that when I told her I was just like really tired. I didn't feel really motivated to do any projects. Or like really, I didn't really know what to post. I feel like, when you like look at, marketing or, whatever about your product, because my practice is so varied and disciplined, I was really getting paralyzed about like what to post versus if
Mhm.
I was like a painter or like, yeah, like a painter, I
Mhm.
could be like, well, look, this is my canvas. This is
Yeah.
me painting. This is me
Mhm.
sort of almost done with the painting. And this is the final painting, and like, I'm like, oh man, what do I post about? And I was just like, man, this is whack. But it also seems like, Instagram is such a great place to be for visibility.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
sort of feel pressure. So I feel like I'm always trying to navigate like what's like a good cadence, what is
Mhm.
good content, like I'm a
Yeah.
big Housewives fan. So I'm like posting about the Housewives, but then it's like, oh, but then people won't like ask you to exhibit if you're only posting about this. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe they will, but it's just like you don't want to do that. So I feel like right now, currently, I'm just trying to get back to the place of where Instagram is just sort of fun. I want it to just all be fun,
Mhm.
be like, look what I'm doing because this is fun. Not like, ooh,
Mhm.
is this going to lead to like my target audience and all that? It's like, I don't even know what that kind of stuff means sometimes. It really gets that overwhelming for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm definitely at the burnt out phase.
Mhm.
There's so many apps, there's so many systems for distribution, like we're just talking about today, like learning how to use this system and getting it set up and doing it for the first time. It's just like there's a lot going on in the interwebs, and for me, nobody's paying me to do this, and that's where I be getting burnt out, because it's
I've
like
heard that.
the time and the energy and the focus and the mental space that I need to make for this, like I literally can't afford to do that sometimes.
Yeah, there was there's a girl that I follow, and she's always just like showing how she styles clothes. Because, we even I've had like talks about like personal style and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I just keep looking and I'm like, what is the goal of this? Is this for her just to keep showing us this? Is she, being paid for this? Like, it doesn't seem like it, but I'm sure that there has to be some money involved. And there was
Mhm.
another girl who was always like taking pictures of her in these costumes and stuff. And
Mhm.
I asked her, I was like, I actually asked her, I was like, do you own all of these clothes or what? And she actually sent me a picture of her living room, like filled with shopping bags. She's like, I go shopping every day and I do this stuff. And it just makes me wonder, and maybe, that could be like another podcast topic because it's just like, what's the point of this? Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But they they do like those TikToks where they're just like and like they come back and they're like the look is all different. And I'm like,
Yes.
this is really cool, but okay. And you know what? There also doesn't have to be a reason. They could just really enjoy it and just having a good time. And like, I'm not here to spoil that. But I guess that's what I want to know. Like, is this just for fun? Are you
Mhm.
trying to get a fashion line? Like, I'm just curious, like, what the end goal is. And maybe that's like capitalism, like ingrained in me, like to think there has to be like end reason
Yes.
something.
Well,
But I'm
no,
just
and
like, why?
I no, and I definitely think that's like my first question is number one, who's paying for all this? That's
Yeah.
always my question. Like, who's paying for this time? How
Yeah.
much time did they spend and who paid for that?
Yeah.
And some people, I do be looking them up, and they turn out they're actually a makeup artist, right? So they really do body painting, or special effects painting, or
Yeah.
they do weddings, but they want to do special effects, so this is their attempt at special effects. So
Okay.
sometimes I'm like, especially with the makeup artist or the hairstylist, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
they
that makes
are
sense.
legitimately, they are investing in their business, right? Even though
Yeah.
I would not spend countless hours making these videos, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or things like that. But then other people, I'm just like, as an editor, I'm like, seriously, who is paying for all this goddamn time that y'all are editing, cut, especially on TikTok, girl. TikTok, sometimes people's edits in a 1 minute video be like, epic. You're just like, there's double screens, there's special effects, there's music, there's
Yeah.
slow motion. You're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a time span of like 3 years, and you're like, how did y'all do this? TikTok didn't even exist yet. Like, how
Okay.
is it happening?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. It's just like, wow. I'm very impressed. And that's why I'm like, don't call this a reel. Call this a film. Like you have
Yeah.
dressed yourself up. You position this camera. You're saying these lines and then you're saying the line back. And like, you're
Yes.
doing this whole thing. I had like messed around and joked, like being like, there needs to be a TikTok award show. Somebody's like, you should run with that. But I'm like, I don't know. But I just am like, yeah, because these people are really putting in this work. And there are some people that maybe it's just for fun, but you know, maybe they're hoping to get like acting gigs out of it. I mean, there are true talent out there that you can see from this. So,
Mhm,
like just shape it up a bit, but
mhm.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I had to be like you, where I just had to surrender. I had to
Mhm.
join TikTok because I was like, I have to learn how people are editing these fucking videos. Like, I just have to know, because you cannot tell me they're spending this time for free. Like, I have to know. Um,
Have you
and
been
then
making videos on TikTok?
I'm trying, but that's what I'm saying, girl. You got
Okay.
to figure it out. There's like serious like tutorials. I'm like, oh my god, you
Yeah,
know.
I haven't gone into the realm of like making reels or TikToks yet. I haven't
Exactly.
gone
And the same thing where I was like, okay, my audience, I don't seem to be reaching my audience,
there.
because
Mhm.
I'm posting on Instagram. First of all, I had to get off Facebook altogether. I had like 2 or 3 thousand friends on Facebook, and then it would be like 3 people interacting, and then
Mhm.
like I'm like checking, algorithms, and I'm trying to figure out like, why aren't people seeing my posts?
Yeah, yeah.
So I got off Facebook altogether. I'm on Instagram, but it's the same thing. It's like, I post something. Sometimes it gets a lot of play. Other times, and it might even be the same sort of series or the same subject matter, and like nothing. Nobody sees it. So, looking online, people were like, "Oh, you need to make more reels. More
Yeah.
videos. People are watching videos. They're not really looking at the posts anymore." So I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, well, who? I didn't know."
Right.
So now I gotta learn how to make reels. And even though as a filmmaker and an editor, I'm like, can I just post these videos that I edit? But it's not even that simple either. They really want you to make it in the platform too. So it's like,
Oh.
like TikTok, for instance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just like edit a video and post it on TikTok. I mean, I guess maybe you could, but
Yeah.
you really want you to make it in TikTok, right? Like,
Yeah.
they want you to like make it
Use
there.
everything in there.
So yeah, so
But
learning these
Instagram does
platforms,
have that video. Instagram does have like the video portion that you could upload videos.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm sure you can, but yeah, making it easy, look, checking it, working it out. The other thing is like uh definitely thinking about how like how to better reach people, and what like hashtags to use,
Yeah.
how to tag things or engage things, and all of that really comes into play. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like literally burnt out, like I
Yeah,
can't
it
do.
really can get overwhelming. And I've had that experience too, like even like with like YouTube when I was trying to like post YouTube videos, like it wouldn't have that many views. And I'm like, I don't understand why. Um, because I was like taking like classes from like a YouTube creator and like trying to learn it, and it just really wouldn't catch. And then it made me feel like, oh, is everything too saturated? I really have no idea. And and I hate that too, like how some things pick up and some things don't. But I don't know, maybe looking at the analytics, who knows? I do like follow some like marketing-ish people
Mhm.
that will talk about like, oh, they use certain apps to help with hashtags, or just
Mhm.
posting what you want. At least at this point, with me just trying to make it more fun for myself, I just want to post
Mhm.
like, when it seems fun, and just do
Mhm.
that, and then not think of it like
Mhm.
as like a businessy thing anymore, and just like really just using it to connect with people, because I feel like it really does go down in the DM, at least for me. Like I talk to people all the time in there,
Oh.
like just like about random stuff, like one
Mhm.
person would just always talk about art things, like it's never like anybody that's like, oh yeah, like what's up with you? Like let me try to be with you or anything. It's just like people
Mhm.
like talking about,
Let's
housewives
work
or like
together.
art. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but it is annoying because I could think of one particular creator in mind right now that I know they do all this really great stuff, but then for some reason, like, and they're connected to like really great people as well. And then stuff pops
Mhm.
up and it's like 3 likes. And I'm like, how is that
Mhm.
possible? I'm like, I don't, that does not
Right.
make sense, with their network and
Right.
the followers and stuff like that. I really just do not understand that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so at this point, I definitely agree with you. I tried to kind of take a break from posting as a worker, because
Yeah.
I'm like, is this even matter? Does it even matter? And
Yeah.
I definitely tried to post more fun, just get into, you're on Ife's page,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, taking a break, honestly,
Yeah.
it's just like, let me just take a break. And I don't know why I didn't like take a break from Facebook sooner, but as soon as I like legitimately was like, okay, I'm gonna actually close this down for a minute. I I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. It's just like it literally all of a sudden became like MySpace where it's like, oh, I don't miss that at all.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, I've heard people say that, like, oh yeah, that they've left Facebook. I still have my personal Facebook, I think mostly just for family at this point. Like I don't
yeah.
like, and I think the thing that was so annoying about it is like I remember one time I posted a question and then I went to work and then my friend's like, "Oh, people are responding to that and you just abandoned it." And I was like, "Well, I'm
Yeah.
working."
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, I'll get back to it, like, and then it made me think
Yeah.
like, well, what's the etiquette? Because it's like I'm not gonna like be up on this thing all day, every day, like I'll come back.
Yeah.
And then like even like now, like if I had like my birthday, right, and there's some happy birthdays I didn't get to, like I'll still see them, be like, oh, should I go through and like reply to these? But I'm just like, yo, that's past. Just get over it.
Yo, the social media etiquette, that is the bag because
Mm-hmm.
I was watching something the other day and the girl was talking about how she didn't respond to her response and she was like, that's because I'm not a psycho. And it's like, oh, like, social media, there's all these unspoken rules.
Yeah. Who knew? I know, like people are like, oh, don't like your own stuff. But my friend always likes her post. She's like, well, I like what I said. I'm like, I know that's right. If you can't big yourself up,
Then
I'm
right,
not mad at that. Leave. It's like let people do what they want to do.
what they want to do.
Jeez.
Hey, I thought it was a great quote that I quoted of myself.
Yeah, I remember. I think like Kevin Hart was on, and it just sounds so childish too. Because when Kevin Hart, I heard him on like Breakfast Club or whatever. He said somebody was like making fun of him for like something he posted on his page, and he's like, "Hey, this is my page. I can post whatever I want on my page." And I'm like, this
Yeah.
has us all sounding like 6-year-old, like
Yes,
it's my page.
yes.
I post what I want. It's just like, oh
I
my gosh.
I
And
almost feel like I've matured a little.
I would really love to know what like my Mark Zuckerberg thinks about like the relationships that like get exposed through Facebook, because it's like all like the court shows, they're always like, yeah, judge, then they gonna post about me on Facebook and this and that, or like I found my man with the girl on Facebook and all that. I'm like, I wonder what he thinks about that. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook definitely became a cultural phenomenon. There is
Yeah.
no denying that it's gonna go down in the history books.
Do you
Like
think it'll be forever?
No, I don't think it'll be forever, but it is definitely a thing. It is
Yeah.
definitely a sign. It is very like 2000 to 2020. Like it is definitely going to be a marker in the beginning of the 20th century. Just like how like, the telephone or the light bulb, it'll just be like one of those things where it was like it changed the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think that Facebook will be around forever, but what Facebook did was change the internet. The internet used to be this thing that was just like a nebulous, 100 100. It made it a place. It made it, like you're saying,
Yeah.
like people want to have a conversation in real time in that space. And it's like before
Mhm.
nobody was attached to the internet like that. Like you would just you could just go home or
Yeah.
whatever, get off your computer and go away. And going back to Dave Chappelle, I think that's one thing that he does bring up. Like, thankfully he was born before all that shit. And he's like, yeah, I could walk away from the internet anytime and I'll be fine. Like, I'm going to keep
Yeah.
living in real life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think it changed the way we interact
Mhm.
online for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. It used to be like messages. It was almost like the snail mail method. Now it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And like I said, my favorite thing about it all has really been seeing how people live around the world
Yeah.
and getting a
100%.
glimpse into other people's lives in a way that we really did not have in the 19th century. You would have to literally, and this is what I did. I became an anthropologist because
Mhm.
you would literally have to fly to someone else's world, live in their world, possibly be a guest in their home
Yeah.
to get that level of intimacy that now, I mean, it's questionable, but now we can literally see somebody cooking in Africa. We can see somebody building a house in Panama. We can see people growing vegetables, and then cooking everything in China. Like in a way that we simply could not see people living and practicing their culture, practicing their religions, practicing their makeup, their fashion, their dances. We couldn't see all that
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things too. It's like just to follow, just put like a random country in your phone and just like follow the videos, you know? It's so
Mhm.
cool. Like look at like how trap queens do it here in Chicago versus how trap queens do it in Spain.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
And
love
and
it.
then also Black culture. I did, this was my first TikTok video. I was like, damn, it's a lot of people on here with Black shit. And that
Yeah.
kind of blew my mind because again, I'm almost 40 years old. So in my real life experience, white people are a mixed bag. Sometimes they're cool with Black culture and other times they're very like, no Black
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
So for the internet to be so pro Black culture
Yeah.
is definitely, I don't know what to make of it yet.
That's
I'm
a really
like,
good point.
yeah. I mean, everything is Black music, Black style, Black fashion, Black dances, and it's all people all over the world,
Yeah, the internet
integrating
is
it.
black. The internet is
The
black.
internet is definitely Black. Yes.
Yeah.
Globally.
Yeah.
Everybody want to be Black online.
Definitely, definitely they do.
I'm
That's
talking
so
about
true.
the lashes, like you said, how you see a trap queen in Spain and she got these lashes that came straight from South Central. Girl,
Yeah.
where you get them lashes?
Okay.
Or the nails. They be
Yeah, I
doing the
know. It's
nails
like
in
when you like
Russia.
see like Japan like have like footworking culture and all that, and it's just like,
Ye-
really?
yes.
Okay. I mean, come on,
Yes.
come battle. What's up? But
Right. Come through.
yeah. But yeah, it's
Well,
it's pretty wild.
that's awesome. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for being my first guest for season
Oh my
2.
gosh, what a
Turn up,
pleasure, of
turn
course.
up. So this
Hey,
is,
congratulations.
yes. So we broadcast live, but we'll have the replay available, and people can check us out on Anchor. and Spotify, I think also. And it's South of Hollywood podcast. And to all my friends and family out there, anybody want to be a guest, definitely hit us up. If you are a Black entrepreneur or business person with a product you want us to try, looking for somewhere to advertise, check us out. We ready.
Yeah.
And we just out here trying to spread the word for
I heard
South of
that.
Hollywood.
Yes, South of Hollywood podcast. How exciting.
Yes, Black people, we out here, we in the film industry.
Yes,
Yeah.
everywhere. Yes. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes.
If you want to
So
be in film, just make your film. You could do it. You can do it. Don't think about age or any of that. Just think about your story and get it popping.
get it popping. That's what we do out here. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. I hope to have you again. And yes,
Yeah.
it's so
Thanks.
awesome.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, definitely. Oh, tell us one last before you go. Tell us how people can follow you and stay involved and support your work real quick.
Oh, okay, cool. My website is missgraham.com. Thanks for letting me share that. Missgraham.com. And then my Instagram is Stephanie Graham, StephanieGraham, just my straight name. And I'm not on yeah, I'm just on Instagram.
Yeah. Like we just talked
Yep.
about, the
Slide in the
burnout is
DM. Say
real.
what's up. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boo. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Thank
You
you.
bet.